when she was single, her and Serena sat down and she manifested like what kind of guy she wants to come in. And that also gave me very Sagittarius energy because, you know, Sagittariuses are ruled by Jupiter. So all that good energy reminded me of like, okay, a Sag like saying what they want and them getting it. They have that lucky syndrome, Sages, as we know. So if you're a Sag, like truly, like you have the magical superpower of having luck on your side. That's good. This is a pear high noon. I love pear anything, honestly. But welcome. Hi. Thank you for being here, and I'm excited to hang out with y'all. And obviously I'm in a new space. Well, not a new space to me. I'm in my apartment, and I'm sitting on my cozy, comfy couch. It's so funny. When I was younger, I always wanted a yellow couch. Like I always wanted like colorful things, but I feel like, you know, when you're growing up with your parents, usually they always get like black or like, you know, muted tones. Like you don't really go to an adult's house and they have like a fun color couch. And I always told myself like when I grow up and I get to like buy my own furniture, I want a nice big yellow couch. And that's literally one of the first things I got when I moved into my place. And it's so comfy and it's so deep. So deep. And I'm obsessed with it. Yeah, I'm just like excited to like kick it here and film with you guys. Because the comfier I am, the comfier and cozier and funner the conversation gets. So let's get into it. All right, I feel like the first thing we need to talk about is Cancer season, and I am honestly very, very happy that Cancer season is over. I don't mean that to be rude. Like, obviously, I'm a fellow water sign, so Cancer season doesn't hit me as bad as probably other people, but that doesn't mean the tears weren't there and the dramatics weren't there. And it's funny because we look at Leo and we're like, oh yeah, Leo is the dramatic one, but like, hello, Cancer. It's like a lot of signs that are right next to each other have a lot of the same qualities as their sister sign or as their neighbor signs. I'm like, it's not a sister sign. What can I name it? Yeah, your neighbor signs. So like, for example, I feel like Libra and Scorpio both have that like charming energy around them, you know, a little charmed and dangerous, if you say. And then with Scorpio and Sagittarius, for example, they both love the truth. They value the truth. So I feel like you always have some commonalities with your neighbor signs. And I feel like Cancer and Leo, one of the qualities that they share is their dramatics. Like they're very, very dramatic. For Cancer, it's more of like an emotional thing. And for Leo, it's more of a spiritual thing. You know, it's a vibe. It's a way of life, you know, because if you're dramatic, more people will watch. And say what you want about Leos, they are performers through and through. And I enjoy that. But I'm excited for Leo season. And I'm just ready for main character energy season. And if there's any Leos watching, I love you. And I love your warm energy. And I hope we all have a great Leo season. So I was actually on Instagram and I was I was on Instagram and I was just, you know, browsing through it. And my algorithm has like hella, like, I want to say like astrology, spirituality, obviously, like it's me. And I saw this post that I was living by. It said, it's by the account, I'll post it here, Astrology, but like, they wrote it funny. It says top 10 jobs Geminis want. And they had one for every sign. So if you want yours, go check it out. But this one stood out to me. And if you didn't know, hi, hello. I'm a Scorpio with a Gemini moon and a Capricorn rising. If you're watching and you haven't told me your placements yet, now would be a great time to comment it down below. I would love to know what placements everyone has that watches me. Like, it's just so fun. But this post, it listed like the 10 top professions for Geminis, and it's so funny because the second one here is professional yapper. And if that ain't the damn truth, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, when I obviously figured out that I was gonna do this alone, like, one of the things that I was really, really scared of is like am I going to be able to like hold a conversation? Am I going to be able to like record long enough for the content or the conversation to be enjoyable? And then I'm like, girl, who are you kidding? You are Gemini moon. You're a yapper through and through. So once I realized that I just need to start believing in myself and my yapping capabilities, I was like, okay, it's okay. I got this. And it's honestly so true. Like, every day my mind is buzzing and like moving at like a million different directions, and I'm taking in so much information. Like, even though I hate social media, I also love social media, and I love a lot of different social medias. I get different things from each one, and I just love to be in the know. And part of being in the know is like yapping about what you find out. So when I'm hanging out with my people, like whether it's my boyfriend, my friends, or family, whatever, like I just love yapping and talking to them about everything that I've learned, like in the past week or since the last time I saw them. Like, did you hear about this? Did you do this? So when I realized that like this is a way of life for me, like even before we started the YouTube, I was like, okay, I got this. I need to believe in my ability to carry long conversations, and honestly, they can be about a whole lot of nothing or a whole lot of everything. So stick around and you'll find out. Another job that's on here is Notes app poet for Gemini, and I think that is actually hilarious because for me, I actually feel like my Scorpio and my Gemini, they blend together. Like if anyone were to find my Notes app, I would thoroughly be scared and embarrassed and obviously scream, throw up, die, all that dramatic shit. But I also feel like maybe if it gets exposed, maybe it was meant to get exposed, because I have read some people to filth on my Notes app. And it's my way of like making sure that like I never get played by them again, or I never feel stupid again. And it literally just like when it comes to all kinds of people, I have shit about my old bosses that fucked with me, obviously, like exes or like friends. Like some of them I haven't even looked at in a long time, and I probably never will. Hopefully I never have to. But there's something so, I don't know, healing about just writing shit down. And you hear about the whole like, oh, just journal, like everyone needs to journaling really helps, and it really does. Like I don't understand why more people don't journal. It's literally so fun. You like talk your shit all you want. No one really has the ability, hopefully, to read it or judge you for it. Some of the best advice I ever heard was to not have any order when it comes to your journaling, right? Because like even when it comes to journaling, something you're only doing, we can't help but like feel like it has to be like a letter, like it has to make sense. This is your way of releasing what's taking up too much space in your mind. So it really doesn't have to make sense. Like you can genuinely talk and write about anything, like anything that pops up in your head, anything that has been bugging you for a while. And then as you write that down, something completely unrelated will pop into your head, and you could write that down too and talk your shit too. And I just feel like that's it's such a healing thing to do, and I wish more people did it, because I can tell when I haven't journaled in a while, because the same sort of like thoughts and feelings will be circulating in my head for a long time. Like let's say someone did something to me like 3 weeks ago, right? And while it's not big enough where I've had to confront them about it, it's still been bugging me because it keeps coming up in my mind, in my subconscious, or in the shower. Like when those things come up, I realize like, okay, it's time to journal. You know what I mean? Like clearly this is bugging you to the point where it is literally repeating. I just genuinely want to make space for my mind for the things that make me happy and the things that I love. And that's not to say that like I'm never going to have a bad thought again, or you know what I mean? But like there is something really healing about writing it down. And I do feel like every time you do, you release it. It's like a thread. And like when you don't write it down, that thread feels like thicker and stronger, and like this negative belief that you have about you or your life, like it's just sticking onto you like mucus. Ugh.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that?
And when you journal it, I feel like it makes the thread weaker, and it allows you to release it easier. And obviously with time, it'll happen too. But journaling about it, I feel like is like the best way to be like, okay, clearly this is a big enough issue where I'm thinking about it. And when you write it down, you kind of accept that and you realize, all right, hopefully we can let this go soon, you know? So yeah, that's my whole thing about like Geminis and Gemini energy. Like one of the things that we really, really, really have to learn from Gemini is that communication heals. And although not everyone feels comfortable and confident communicating and overly communicating, I feel like if you're uncomfortable doing that in person, a good place to start is journaling. Because if you are able to journal and release what you're feeling, I feel like it makes you more confident the next time you're having said conversation with the person that you have an issue with. Because you've already talked it through with yourself, by yourself. Like it's different to be thinking about how you want to go about a conversation. But when you write down how it made you feel, I feel like it just makes you more confident the next time you are in front of that person. Because you're like, listen, me and me have had to talk about this. And this is how I feel. So do that. Okay, so I actually want to talk about Love Island. Like, you have to be living under a rock if you haven't watched Love Island this season. I feel like everyone's watching. You know, like literally guys, like straight guys I see are watching more than ever before. And I'm here for it because, listen, it's a revolution, you know, especially this season. Like, if y'all didn't know, like Love Island is like a UK thing, right? It was a UK thing originally. And that's where like all the best seasons were like Love Island UK. And then the US started Love Island and they're on their 6th season now. But the first few seasons were like whatever. Like to us, like OG Love Island UK watchers, we would watch Love Island USA and we'd be like, like we're watching it. At least I was just watching it just to keep up. Like I said, I need to be in the know. But when I was comparing it to Love Island UK, I was just like, this ain't it. Like it's just not giving the way that Love Island UK does with the drama and the dynamics and the friendships and the, you know, all that heartbreak shit. I feel like everyone just always played it too cool in the USA, you know? They just didn't get deep enough for me. And I think that's why this season of Love Island USA is so big and it's been magnified and it's truly taken over the country. Like I feel like everyone was watching it this summer for the most part. And I feel like it definitely has to do with the dynamic of the people in the house. Like you can't really replicate shit like that. I feel like it's not, I'm hoping it's not a once in a lifetime thing. Once in a lifetime sounds crazy. Not a once in a lifetime Love Island season that hits. But I feel like with Love Island this season, obviously, it's because of the dynamics of the people there that created the drama and the love that we have for this particular cast. But I thought it would be kind of fun to talk about the synastry of the final couples. Like we could go through each one of them and just quickly talk about their synastry and like how I feel about their signs. And obviously I don't have their birth charts. All I really have is their sun signs. And you know, this is just meant to be fun. All right. This isn't like a deep dive into are they right for each other? Like this is just like fun, especially because we only have their sun signs. So if you guys are ready, let's get into it. Okay, so first up, we have Serena, who is a Virgo, and Cordell, who is a Gemini. And let me take a sip, actually, for this. Obsessed. Because, so I have been a day one Serena stan, even when people are like, oh, like, she's playing with Cordell, like, why is she leading this man on? I'm like, let my girl cook. Like, she is literally taking her time. Not everyone needs to be moving at the same pace. Come to find out, Serena's a Virgo, right? And that makes sense because Virgos typically are more hesitant to jump into a relationship too quickly. They want to really get someone before and understand them before they invest in them in that relationship. And on the other side of it, we have Cordell, who is a Gemini, and that is just so funny because you have Serena, the slower paced version of Mercury, and you have Cordell, who is Gemini, the faster paced version of Mercury. And of course, you know, a Gemini is going to want to move faster than a Virgo. Like Geminis are very excitable. They want to talk. They know if they like you from the beginning or not. Like it doesn't really take too long for a Gemini to figure out if they fuck with you or not. They typically know within the first few moments of talking to you. So it makes sense that they were just on different pages at the beginning of their relationship because these two signs typically move through life differently in general. I feel like Gemini is in it for the fun, usually. Like, they're not really thinking about the repercussions of jumping into things too quickly. Like, if they're feeling you, and they're gonna go towards what feels good, right? And I'm sure when him and Serena were getting along at the beginning and, you know, building that friendship, they definitely, he probably thought like, oh, I like you as a friend, which means, yeah, I'm hella into you romantically too. Like, why wouldn't it work? And I feel like for Serena, when you're a Virgo, I would typically think that if someone comes off too fast, too strong, while most people would be like, oh my God, they're obsessed with me. Like, since the beginning, they've been obsessed with me. A Virgo, I feel like, probably sits there and thinks like, you don't even know me. Like, what do you mean you're obsessed with me? Like, it makes them feel a little bit uncomfortable, which is why it takes them a little bit longer to open up and warm up to you, because they haven't really figured you out yet. And I just thought that was so the case with them. And I'm so happy that they were able to work through it and that they didn't allow outside judgment, or Cordell didn't let outside judgment deter him from pursuing her, because a lot of the boys on the island were telling Cordell like, oh, because she friend zoned him at first. And then she kind of realized, okay, no, I do want you. Because again, he came off really strong, I think, to her at the beginning. So then she pulled back. But then when he gave her space, she was able to get more comfortable. And she came around and she realized like, oh, like we have a really genuine, sweet connection. And again, Cordell was dealing with the advice from the boys in the villa. And the advice he received was basically, well, we don't know if you should give her another chance. Like, we don't know if she's really about you like that, because the boys were obviously like, oh, like she's not moving fast enough, she friend zones you, and now she likes you, all of a sudden. And you know, it just bugged me, because I feel like, sure, granted, they're on a reality TV show, but at the end of the day, we're all different people here, and we're all gonna move at a different pace. And it sucks because everyone's kind of judging each other there, and they're looking at what everyone else is doing. And I think with them, when they started focusing on their relationship and probably not comparing it to anyone else's, that's when they really were able to create something beautiful together. And I think it is something really sweet when you have two signs that are ruled by the same planet together. Like, this is Mercury, right? Like, you could just see from their conversations how much they enjoy each other's company, and like the way they laugh, the way they communicate, they have the same jokes. That to me is very Mercurial, and I just love that for them a lot. And I'm so happy they won. So cheers to the winning couple. Okay, so next we have our second place winners. We have Leah, who's a Leo, Leah the Leo, and Miguel, who's a Pisces. And oh my God. Okay, so I love them together, obviously, because if you watch the show, you would see that Leah kind of had like a rough time at the beginning of this season. She was kind of with this, I want to call him a fuck boy, because to me he is a fuck boy. Rob, and like he went through some shit with some other girl, so Leah was like kind of being led along, and you know, it was just a mess. Anyway, so then Miguel comes in, right? And Miguel, he kind of, as he walks in, like, you can't help but feel like, oh, like, he's like a fuck boy, you know? Like, he gives fuck boy in the sense that, like, he knows he's hot shit, right? But then I was looking at Leah, and I'm like, okay, well, she's a Leo. And actually, in the first episode, she said that she's a triple Leo, which is crazy. So Leo Sun, Leo Moon, Leo Rising. If I remember correctly, that's what she said. And her name's Leah, so, you know, that's 4. And I always thought that she needs someone that is willing to be in that spotlight with her. And the guy that she was with before her was a Virgo. I feel like in general, Leos, they love to be the center of attention, and very naturally the attention lands on them. You know, whether they're cracking jokes, whether they're giving you all the looks like Leo was. Like, genuinely, when they walk into a room, people are going to look at them. And I feel like for Virgo, it's the complete opposite, in the sense that they don't want that attention. They typically want to, again, be chill, be cool. They don't want to be the one that's they don't also want to be around people that are bringing a lot of attention to their group or whatever. They get embarrassed really easily, right? And I feel like that is ultimately what kind of led to Leah and the other guy before Miguel came in's relationship, because he was a Virgo. And I just feel like at the end of the day, you have to, if you're going to be with a Leo placement, a strong Leo placement, you need to be willing to allow them to have their dramatic blow ups or, you know, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, that is who they are. They don't do things quietly. They're not shy. They're going to say how they feel. And that's that. So then when Miguel came in, and like I said, he was a Pisces. At first I was like, okay, I don't know, because he kept like switching partners. But then when him and Leah like actually started to progress in their relationship, you could see him just like cracking open, like being emotionally available. She always talked about how he made her feel safe and how he was so wise behind his years. It's giving, you know, 12th house Pisces energy. And I just love that, because I feel like while a Leo and a Pisces aren't typically like compatible, right? I feel like I like this energy when it's a Pisces man and a Leo woman, because in general, I feel like your man has to be enthralled with you. You know what I mean? He has to be obsessed with you. And I feel like that's what I see. I see a Pisces man who is obsessed with his extravagant Leo woman. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I'm also thinking that like Miguel probably has some Aries in that chart, because I can tell when a Pisces is a Pisces with Aquarius placements versus a Pisces that has a lot of Aries placements. And I feel like Miguel has this commanding type of energy. Clearly, he's freaking confident. So if you're new, in Love Island, they do this heart rate challenge where it's split between the boys and the girls. So the girls do it for the boys and the boys do it for the girls. And they all dressed up super sexy, and essentially when it's your time to perform, you are going and you are performing in front of everyone there, and you're trying to raise their heart rate by being all sexy and like, you know, doing your damn thing. And when Miguel did his, like, everyone in the whole entire continent was like, this is not the first time he's danced like this. Like, is this man like a stripper? Which is fine. It's totally fine. But it was giving Aries, like the way he was performing, you know? So then I love that too for my girl Leah the Leo, because I feel like they match each other's energy, and I do get fire sign from him a little bit, but I also do understand why his Pisces energy is the one that makes her feel safe and seen and doesn't judge her, because she's had such a rough time in there. So if it was a man that was like judging her and like throwing what she's done in there to her face, I just don't think she would have been able to last as long as she did. And clearly she got happier as the season went on. So as her relationship with Miguel progressed, Leah got happier. So for all the people that were like shipping Rob and Leah, I am judging you. I'm judging you. Because why would you want a girl to go back to a guy that made her feel so small and disrespected her? You know, not to say that she was perfect, but like, it's just crazy to me that like people will see someone happy, happier than they've ever been, and then they're like, but you and so were so cute. So and so literally drained the life out of me, and you want me to go back to that rather than the person that is making me laugh? I don't like it. Okay, next we have Janae and Kenny. Okay, so Janae is the Sag and Kenny is a Pisces. I freaking love Janae because everything she did gave me such Sag energy, like her confidence, her ability to make everyone laugh. Like when she was doing that with her glasses, like she was like literally a walking meme. And that made me so happy because Sagittarius at their best are just literally making everyone laugh, and they bring such high energy to the group. And Janae, if you haven't watched Love Island, at the beginning, her journey was rough. Like, and I don't like to see anyone sad, but I hate seeing Sagittarius and Gemini placements sad because it's in their nature to be happy, to be laughing, to make everyone around them laugh. So when their energy is low, I just genuinely feel like all is wrong in the world, and we need to do something to make these freaking people, to make this sister sign combo happy. Otherwise, where are we gonna get the energy to make everyone else happy? Like, it usually comes from them. So because of that, I love her, and I'm happy that she found Kenny and he came in later in the season. He's a Pisces. I do wonder if he has some Aquarius in his chart, because I feel like he has that, like, not like weird, but like he's a little bit more quiet, but I feel like when he gets comfortable with people is when he brings out his like funny, weird side. And with Janae, I genuinely feel like she's such a superstar, and like she's such a bold, beautiful woman that she deserves a man who's like heavily invested in her and is like obsessed with her. And you know, Pisces man, once they're into you forever, probably forever. Like a Scorpio man forever, but like a Pisces man too, and Cancer too, but like just in their different ways. And I love it because to me that they give the trope of like a girl who's a yapper and her quiet boyfriend who's just like sitting there in love with her and like has those little hard eyes and just watches her yap, and it makes him so happy. Like that's the trope that they give me, and that makes me really happy. And in general, I enjoy seeing women that are fiery have men that are soft and just obsessed with them and allow them to be themselves, and don't ever tell them that they're doing too much or whatever the hell. Like in general, I for my Sag women, like I want men who are just allowing them to be the superstar that they are. Like Sages are ruled by Jupiter, you know, their energy is always expanding. They don't want someone that is shutting them down, telling them that they're doing too much. They want someone that is allowing them to grow and to be. And I feel like Kenny seems to be the one that is doing that. Obviously he's a Pisces, so he's super understanding. And I love that for my girl. And I thought it was funny, not that only Pisces men cry, but when they had come back, so they have this thing in Love Island where in the middle of this season, they have this thing called Casa Amor, where the original cast of guys and girls are put into different houses, and they bring in, for the girls' house, a new set of boys, and then for the guys' house, a new set of girls. And then after a few days, you get to go back and everyone's in the same house, and you decide if you want someone new or the person that was in the original house with you. So Kenny, I mean, a lot of guys were being dumb this season. He brought a girl back, right? And Janae did her big one, and she was like, I'm out of here. No, fuck this. Like, fuck him, which I understand because, like, hello, you guys had a great connection. But it was still early on, so I guess his reasoning was that he didn't know what she was going to do and blah, 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 blah. So when she was super mad at him, she literally had a conversation with him like a Sagittarius queen that she is. She sat him down and was like, listen, thank you. We're just going to be friends from now on, because if that's what you did, then you chose up. You know, and I feel like that was just such a Sag, badass, bold move. She literally sat this man down and was like, so you brought someone back. Interesting. Well, just to let you know, this was great. We're just going to be friends now. This is not progressing. And he was just, he was just like shooketh. He was like, oh shit. Like he was just quiet. He didn't even know what to do. And then I'm pretty sure that same night, he was like crying to the girls, like her friends, not her. They saw him crying because like he knew that he was going to lose her. And I feel like that made me, not that it made me happy that he was crying, but I was happy that he was in tune with his emotions and was allowing himself to cry and to be seen crying. That gives very Pisces energy as well. And, you know, he realized that he messed up and he let her know that he wants her, and he was willing to do the work to let her know that she's the one. You know, one of my favorite scenes is like her being like, say it. And he's like, I want you. I need you. Like that shit was so hot. There's just something really, 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 really hot about someone knowing what they want and saying it to you, letting you know that you're the one and that they're obsessed with you. And that's what my girl Janae deserved. And in general, I feel like that's what we need to learn about Sages. They have no problem telling people what they want, what is expected of you, why that's not going to work for them. Like they're not shy when it comes to the things that they desire in this life, who they want in this life. Like truly, like one of my favorite things that Maya's always done for me is she's always told me, you want something, you let people know. You want this, you let that person know. Like what's holding you back from saying it? And my thing was always like, well, I don't want to say it because I don't want to be judged. I don't want them to think I think too much. I don't want them to think that I think about them too much, or that I want them, or that I need them, and this and that and the third. And Maya would always let me know, why are you keeping all these secrets to yourself? You know what I mean? Like clearly this is something that's bugging you, and clearly this is a conversation that you need to have. Just have the conversation. Just tell people what you want, what you expect of them. And once I started doing that, I realized like, oh my God, life's way more fun this way. Like, sure, it's fun to like play it cool, but who is hurting ultimately at the end when I'm playing it cool? Me. Because I know what I really want, and yet I'm not telling anyone about it. So how is anyone supposed to know what it is that I want? And how will they know that they need to do that to make me happy? you know? So that made me so happy because I feel like Janae stood on business this whole season. She let people know, like, this is what I want, this is what I expect, even when she manifested it. So it came out that, like, when she was single, her and Serena sat down and she manifested, like, what kind of guy she wants to come in. And that also gave me very Sagittarius energy because, you know, Sagittariuses are ruled by Jupiter. So all that good energy reminded me of, like, okay, a Sag, like, saying what they want and them getting it. They have that lucky syndrome, Sages, as we know. So if you're a Sag, like, truly, like, you have the magical superpower of having luck on your side. And while we can all manifest, there's just something extra special about Sagittarius and Pisces energies manifesting together. Oh, and here's another one they're ruled by the same freaking planet. Sag and Pisces, Kenny and Janae. They're both ruled by Jupiter. So that's something that I really, really do love seeing in Synastry too. Okay, moving on. Did y'all hear about that IT crash? Like, worldwide, Mr. Worldwide? IT crash? And isn't it freaking funny? Isn't it freaking funny that it's happening when Pluto is in Aquarius? Like, that is insane. And I'm pretty sure Pluto is retrograding, right? Pretty sure Pluto is retrograding to the final degrees of Capricorn all over again. Let's see. Let's check. Yep, Pluto is in retrograde, and right now it's at 0 degrees Aquarius. It is actually insane how much astrology is spot on. I mean, we all know it is. The believers know. The non-believers, the underachievers.
The non-believers, the underachievers, the tweet and deleters. You guys make me sick to my stomachs, fam.
No, the people that don't believe in it, like, they don't know that they can really predict shit that happens through astrology. Like, the fact that Pluto in Aquarius is all about change and transformation and the dark side of technology, you know what I mean? And the fact that this, like, IT crash happened, like, I'm pretty sure it affected flights. It affected so many different things. And it's just kind of scary to think about, like, what would happen if the internet was just gone? Like, for real, like, and I don't mean like permanently, even if it's just like for a day. Like, if we don't have access to the internet for a day, what would people do? Because while it may be nice because we can focus on, like, what's happening in real life, I feel like there's a lot of great tools that we have because of the internet, and obviously, like, communicating with people and even just sharing what's going on around the world or in your community. Like, that's all through the internet and technology. And if we don't have access to the internet or technology or whatever, we're kind of left out of the loop. And if you really, really think about it, I mean, I don't want to think about it because that's scary, but it's really easy to, I feel like, manipulate and control people when people don't know what's happening, you know? Like, if some shit happens in this country or in the world or whatever, right? We hear about it through social media. The people, there's like a consensus of, like, okay, we all hate this. We're going to change this. Like, what is going on here? Like, we learn more about it through social media. And if they take that away, we're kind of left in the dark, and we don't really know if it's just happening here. Is it happening everywhere? How are we going to fix this? Like, all that shit is so scary to think about. And I feel as though we don't think about it often until some shit happens like this, where you're like, oh, like, that's possible. Our access to the internet and technology can just be taken, or something can just get fucked up in NASA or whatever. Is that where we get our shit? Something can just happen, and we have just lost the privilege of connecting with anyone via the internet. And that to me is very scary. Also, think about the fact that Pluto energy and Aquarius energy, both of those energies together, it gives the energy. How many times did I just say energy? It gives the energy of humbling people. You know what I mean? Humbling the world. Because Pluto has a way of changing things, and it doesn't always mean change for the better. It could be change for the worse, but no matter what, like, change needs to happen. And I feel like we're all in for a rude awakening with Pluto and Aquarius, because on a large scale, like, humanity will be going through death and rebirth. And everything as we know it will probably change, especially related to technology and, you know, the internet. It's just crazy to think, like, I don't know, like when we were in like 2019, did we think 2020 was going to be crazy? Did we anticipate a pandemic happening in our lifetimes? No. It makes me think like we probably should prepare for more shit like this to happen. Okay, off to another topic that I want to get into. I saw this post on Instagram, another post. I'm going to post it right here. So if you're listening, go and look at the video version. But essentially it says, quote, "I'm an open book. Just don't ask about my relationship with my father or food or my self-image or my finances or my goals and aspirations or my sexual history or literally anything else." I saw this post and I literally cried laughing because I felt read. I felt seen. Granted, I'm not out here saying I'm an open book. Like, I don't feel the need to say that. But maybe, I don't know, like, I genuinely feel like if someone were to ask me a question, obviously I would want to answer honestly. But I just feel like, how dare you have the audacity to ask me anything about me? You know? I know the Scorpios get this. I know the Scorpios get this. Okay? Because what gives you the privilege of knowing anything about me? Which is also annoying because all of these things, right? Relationship with my father, food, self-image, all those things are like very personal things because like who should be talking about that? Or who wants to talk about that to just anyone? But also Scorpios, I feel like we have this thing of like, oh, well, I don't like shallow conversations. I hate small talk. I like to get deep. And that is very true. But I'm not out here telling people all my business upon meeting them for the first time or even just like acquaintances or whatever. But I also hate the fact that it's normal for people to ask you these types of questions the more you hang out with them, right? Like people want to learn more about you. So they're going to ask you about like your dating history or your relationship with your family or like, you know what I mean? Like just shit like that. Like I sometimes do wish we all came with like a little, I don't know, warning label that said, these are the things that I don't want to talk about ever. These are the things I don't want to talk about with this group of people. You know what I mean? Like, I wish people knew that and they just wouldn't ask. Like, for example, for me, I feel like a lot of people relate to this. Like, when you're around family or, you know what I mean, significant others' families or just elders, I guess. Like, there's always this pressure for me. I feel like I'm going to get asked about my life. And I know there's nothing wrong with that. Like people are just curious, but I genuinely take it so personally and it literally feels like an attack on me. And maybe that is something that I need to work on and work through with my therapist. But genuinely, it pisses me off. Like I get anxiety knowing I'm going to be around people also due to the fact that they might ask me personal questions about my life. Oh, like what's going on over here? What about this thing? And it's like, I didn't realize I was getting interviewed and I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I'm jealous of people that can just like openly talk about their shit with anyone. I don't know if jealous is the right word because I think it is also discernment is a good thing and it's good to keep some shit to yourself. And there's power in secrets or privacy, not secrets. But I've realized that is something that I still struggle with till this day. Like I get anxiety when I know I'm going to be around people that might ask me about my life. And it's crazy because I'm proud of my life and I'm proud of the person I am. And I think it just has to still do with healing my inner child. Like I genuinely feel like my inner child is afraid of being judged. And being, I don't know, discovered or feeling like I'm bare to the world, even if it's people that I love, like, you know what I mean? Like my family who loves me. I always feel as though I have to have the perfect answer when it comes to my life and what's going on with this thing or what's going on with that thing. And I'm not sure if other people feel that way. Like, I feel like a lot of people just talk the talk, and no matter who they're around, they'll vent to them about what's going on at their job, what's going on in their relationship. And I am just not one of those people. And I feel like I'm okay with it. But also, I feel like the issue is that I get anxious leading up to situations where I'm going to be around a lot of people because I feel as though I'm going to be interviewed, which is crazy. Like, that's actually insane. Like, it's not an interview. It's literally you being around people and having an open conversation. But I am just so private. I guess it ultimately just comes back to the fact that if people know you and they judge you, that hurts more than when people don't really know you and they judge you. Because, like, no matter what, you're going to get judged in life, right? Like, we all know that. You can never make everyone happy. But the more people know about you, the more criteria they have to judge you off of, you know? So it almost feels like it's more accurate, even though it's not. Like, they don't really know you. And if they choose to judge you based off of everything that you've openly and courageously shared with them and they're judging you, like, that's messed up. And I need to understand that, because there's this like inner fight within me of like just being and stepping into my truth. And there's this other side of me where it's like, not everyone deserves to know everything about me. And I'm having a hard time figuring out if I'm private or I'm scared of being seen for all that I am, or, you know what I mean, being judged and putting it all out there. And I think a lot of people probably deal with that too. I know you Scorpios probably do. 8th house placements do. Aries placements, Aquarius placements, Capricorn placements. You all probably feel the same way, feeling as though, okay, I don't want to necessarily share every part of my life with everybody, but also I see how freeing it is for the people that can do that so easily. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's around. I can just say whatever I want and I can share whatever I want, and what they choose to do with that information, that's up to them. I've never really understood that, but I would be lying if I said that I wondered what it would be like to be that kind of person, to just openly put it all out on the table. And maybe it really just has more to do with like being an introvert versus extrovert, because I feel like extroverts, they truly get energy from socializing, from talking and sharing their whole story with everyone at all times. Like, they want to be around people so they can, you know, have that bouncing back and forth when it comes to everyday conversation. And for me, like, I love those deep conversations one-on-one, you know what I mean? Or even like with 3 people, whatever. Whereas I feel like when I'm around a whole bunch of people, it's more pressure, because I feel like, oh, there's like hella people here and anyone can kind of jump into this conversation and, you know, give me advice or be so invested in what I'm sharing with this person. Like, that is my issue with being around a lot of people, is I feel like I can't fully express what I want to express, because then there's multiple people there that are going to be judging me, if that makes sense. That's why I really feel like I do well one-on-one. Like, I enjoy one-on-one conversations, because I can just truly be myself and express what I feel, because I know what energy I'm working with. Whereas when I'm around a lot of people, you really don't know what kind of energy is coming, and you don't know how other people are feeling when it comes to their energy. So it's a lot of like risky things happening all at once that makes me want to go into my own shell instead of trusting that I'll have a good time at this social setting. You guys know what I mean? It is just wild though, because we all have those like 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 topics that we don't want to talk to anyone about. But no one on the other side of it really knows what those topics are for us, right? Like, unless it's like your best friend or partner or whatever. Like, but a lot of people probably don't know the topics that trigger you. And, you know, you never know when you're going to be around someone that just openly talks about whatever, and they'll have like the audacity to be like, oh, so like, what was your relationship like with your father? You know what I mean? Like, oh, where do you work? Is the money good? Like, one time I remember we were at our last apartment and we had some people over, and I did not know these people at all. And one of them was like, oh, yeah, like, how much do you guys pay for rent? And I'm just like, who asks that? Like, is that not like a private question? Like, would you guys share that with someone random? Maybe I'm doing the most, but I genuinely feel like that's such a private question. And like, if I don't know you, why would I talk to you about like my finances or anything like that? And I just would never ask something like that. Maybe it's also a cultural thing. I don't know. Like for me, or just like what I've learned from my family, for the most part, I haven't really felt comfortable asking people personal questions such as like their finances or how much they get paid or how much they pay for that. Like, it just feels like such a personal thing. So yeah, that just kind of like threw me off, and it kind of gave me the ick. It wasn't like, it was literally like someone that was like a potential friend, but like it gave me the ick because I'm just like, I don't know, like it's weird. I don't know if I want to be around you again. Like, maybe I'm doing the most, but I genuinely feel like, yeah, I can't with that kind of energy. I guess what I'm really trying to say is that like I am such a slow burn when it comes to like all my relationships, not just romantic, obviously. Because when we talk about relationships, everyone always assumes we're talking about romantic relationships, but there's friendships, there's like working relationships, you know, family. When it comes to all of that stuff, like I just feel like I like to take the slow burn route because it makes me feel safe. And also, I have more time to know you and whether you are to be trusted, or if you are someone that takes other people's privacy seriously. You know what I mean? Because if you're not private, I would almost assume that you're probably not private with other people's information. And I just can't have that. And that's probably why I burn slow, is because if I just trust you right away, I don't really know you. Sure, like we got along. Like if I meet someone and I'm like, oh, this is so fun, I feel like we're going to be great friends. Granted, I could just go off of that first impression and just share whatever I want with you and hope that you're a good person and hope that because we got along well, you wouldn't tell that to anyone. But I feel like that would be such a stupid mistake on my end, you know? Okay, so the last topic that we have is Shannon Doherty. I don't know if you guys know her. She was a really popular actress. She passed away, so RIP to her. One of my favorite shows in the whole entire world is Charmed. Like till this day, if it's on TV, I just put it on, or I'll just have it in the background. Like growing up, I would watch that show all the time. You know, I love my witchy shit. Who doesn't love their witchy shit? And like these badass sisters. Also, it's set in San Francisco. And I live in San Francisco, so that's lit. And it always just makes me feel like at home. Even when I wasn't living in San Francisco and it was in San Francisco, the show, I felt so like connected to it, some would say. And yeah, I was so sad to see that she had passed, and she was pretty young. So I just kind of wanted to give a little shout out to the original sister witch, Prue. And I was sitting there thinking about like, oh, like, you know, I loved all of them on that show. And I'm like, what sign did Prue remind me of? And I'm like, oh my God, Prue was such a Capricorn on that show. So y'all let me know if you guys agree. To me, she's a Capricorn because she was always fully invested. Like, obviously in her job and her career, she took that very seriously. And I feel like it took her the longest to come to terms with the fact that, oh, like they're witches, and like that also gives Capricorn energy. Someone that's a little like pessimistic or like doesn't believe in that shit. And, you know, being the oldest sister that she was, I feel like she felt like a lot of responsibility, and she had a lot of weight on her shoulders when it comes to like taking care of her family, making sure they keep the house, like all that shit reminds me of Capricorn energy. And I think a lot of times we just associate family life and stability to Cancer for good reason, but we forget to give that to Capricorn energy as well. Like Capricorns, the reason they're such workaholics is because they truly want to create and maintain that safe space that they call home, or the family they want to provide for. Like they want to maintain that shit. That's why they're such motivated individuals because they don't want to slow down and run the risk of losing everything that they worked so hard for. Like their stability means everything to them, just like Cancer. And I feel like Capricorns don't get enough of love. Don't get enough love for how much they create safety for those around them, you know? Because a lot of times they're just deemed as like cold and sometimes selfish. But ultimately, you have to think about why they're doing what they're doing. And usually, the reasoning behind all that hard work or, you know, their ability to kind of step away from socializing or having fun is because they are literally holding the weight of the world on their shoulders. And because of that, they can be sad. Like, if you think about it in general, all of us, when we think about our responsibilities, it's dooming and it's sad and it's annoying. Like, why do I have to do so much shit? Like, this world is already hard enough and I have to get up and work every day. Fuck capitalism. And Capricorn understands all that and they're still out here grinding because that's the energy that they were born with. Like, I feel like Capricorns in general, from the jump, like at the age of 3, somehow they realize that this world is a tough, tough place to be in. This world is hard. It's hard to survive out here. And when you have that mindset embedded in you at such a young age, you truly think that nothing good comes easy and that if you have something good, you better work 10 times harder to maintain it and keep it because it can be taken away from you with the blink of an eye. You know what I mean? And I hate that for Capricorns, but that is the energy that they're working with. And I truly believe that life does get easier for Capricorns as time goes on. And I've read that, you know, in my astrology readings that I do. Astrology studies, as you can say. In my astrological studies, a lot of times heavy Capricorn placements tend to have an easier life as they grow up. So life starts off very heavy and hard. And obviously a lot of people talk about like before you go through your Saturn return, like, you know, those last few years of your 20s are rough. You're figuring out who you are, what you want. You're comparing yourself. You think you're getting old. Society's lying to you because late 20s is not old. 30s is not old. You've barely made it past like the halfway point. Like, come on. But yeah, I feel like Capricorn energy in general, they think that heavy, somber energy is going to last forever, and it's not. I'm here to tell y'all it's not. It can get better, especially when you've already embedded this aura of like, I'm responsible and I can get shit done and I'm motivated, and you have these habits already. It makes it much easier to thrive later in life because you set yourself up for success. You know, like most people, they're kind of just fucking around doing whatever they want, and then as they get older they become more responsible, right? Whereas for Capricorn, it's the complete opposite. Like, they are burdened by all the bullshit they had to deal with in their childhood, and they're told that, you know, emotions make them weak, so they just hold it all in. They grind. They take life very seriously. And then for most Capricorn placements, I've noticed as they get older, they realize like, okay, I can have fun. I deserve to have fun. Look at all that I've done for myself. I deserve to have fun. And it comes back to a safety thing of like, you having fun, Capricorn, or Capricorn placements, or Saturn ruled or heavy Saturn ruled individuals, you having fun doesn't mean that the world is suddenly going to take away your safety. It's suddenly going to take away everything that you've worked hard for. And that's something that I've had to teach myself too, is that like, if you're having fun and if you're enjoying life and taking it less seriously, that doesn't mean that the universe is all of a sudden going to come in here and take away everything that you've worked hard for during those years of, you know, heavy responsibility. And I just want everyone to remember that, because I'm reminding myself that, like, we all deserve rest. We all deserve play. And coming into Leo season, like, it's the most playful season of all the astrological seasons, okay? So when Leo season is here, I genuinely just want everyone to have fun, take life less seriously. You know, feel the warmth of the world, feel the warmth of your circle. And if you don't have good people around you, and if you feel lonely, keep pouring into yourself, truly. Like, just because you don't have people around you that get you, or you haven't found your day ones, or you haven't found like your partner, or if your family sucks, all that, fuck all that. Just keep pouring into yourself. And that is the epitome of Leo energy, is pouring love into yourself, believing in yourself. And I promise you, like, the more you keep loving on yourself and faking it till you make it, the better the individuals that the universe is planning on bringing to you will be. Because if you keep pouring into yourself, like, you're like here, right? And the universe is going to be like, okay, well, I need to match that energy. I need to bring people that are right here with them, you know? Whereas if in the meantime, you keep settling for people that aren't shit, that don't treat you right, all because you don't want to be lonely, the universe is going to be like, oh, okay, so you want to stay here. I'll keep bringing people that are here this low for you, since that's where you want to be, and since that's what you chose, instead of being alone and pouring into yourself and waiting for good people. So that's how I feel. And one final thing before we wrap up, I posted it here and I posted it on our Instagram. I want you guys to let me know what you would prefer. Would you prefer to have a long podcast every week, extra long podcast, where I include the concept video in this? Like, for example, if I'm doing the Venus sign series, which is coming, don't worry, Cancer, you're next. Should I include that in the podcast, like make it an extra long podcast, or would you guys prefer to have them be separated, like an astrology concept video and then the podcast is a separate video? Like, let me know what you guys prefer in the comments, because obviously we in this together and I want to give you guys what you want. And also, I would love, live, laugh, love, if you guys commented what kind of videos you want, like what kind of topics you want me to get into, what kind of astrology, spirituality, honestly, whatever. What would make you guys happy to see on this channel? And if it's the right fit for both of us, I'll make it happen. You know, I want to see what you guys are thinking. I want to make y'all happy and make y'all feel entertained. So let your girl know. I'm going to post socials down here. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever, don't forget to leave me a review, 5-star, okay? That would really, really help out a lot. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to comment, subscribe, like the video. All that shit helps your girl out a lot. And I'll see you guys next week.